Hi everyone, welcome to Teak for Creative, and we'll go do some training today. I wanted to go over really the basics before we get into doing any kind of drawing or those sort of things. Wanted to get into the basics of materials you might look at in terms of if you're starting out doing drawing and taking it maybe a little bit more seriously than just the regular pencil and lead and all those sort of things, and what type of erasers, what are some of the materials that you would need to start off with. One thing is to start off is that you're going to have your generals charcoal pencil. Generally speaking, with charcoal, you want to go ahead and start off with like a 4B, something that's fairly soft. The softer it is, the better outcome you're going to have. As far as other charcoal, I don't necessarily have that out here, but vine charcoal might be another good choice. There's also, I have a couple examples of same sort of thing, and I'll put a description below as far as different types of charcoals that you can use. So that's basically the charcoal that you have there. You'll also see this tool, which is, why would you need that? Well, actually, what that would be for would be to really extend your pencil out just a little bit further. The reason being is that you want to hold your pencil way out here versus what we have been taught how to write. We're writing up like this. Rather, we want to, in drawing, hold the pencil way up here. And I'll get to why the size of the lead, why is it exposed versus what you would have here with this type of pencil here as well. So I'll get in that here in a second. Other types of pencils that I really like, so one would be this Carbothello, and they make some pretty good pastel pencils, and I'll talk about why the particular colors. But so one thing about the pastels that are nice is that they're going to have a similar consistency as the charcoal pencil in terms of starting out, but one major difference is it's going to feel, if you're used to maybe just regular pencil lead or that sort of thing, this is going to be something that's going to be maybe a little bit more of a easier in that transition, but it'll still accomplish a lot of the things that you can do with the charcoal pencils in terms of what I referred to earlier as chiaroscuro. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. You also have your kneaded eraser. Now, a couple reasons why a kneaded eraser, especially when you're starting out with drawing. I have a kneaded eraser here. The reason why the kneaded eraser versus, if you are going to do eraser, versus something like this, even like a pink eraser or those sort of things. The reason why a kneaded eraser is generally you can, which is pretty cool, if you can kind of see here on the camera, you can kind of see how you can mold your kneaded eraser into any given shape. And so whatever you're needing to erase, you can get into those fine details. You can get it into a line like that, and you can even draw with a kneaded eraser, so that makes that useful. Another thing that is really good with the kneaded eraser is that actually when you're erasing, for example, like an eraser like this, you're not necessarily picking up just the lead or the markings that were left behind from the mark that you made on the paper. You're actually bringing up or scarring the paper, and so that's why a kneaded eraser is a good addition, because that kneaded eraser is actually going to give you a less destructive, certainly to your paper, which later on, as you go find out that even though you erase over a mark and it's gone, that it'll actually leave a little bit of a residue behind that leaves a different type of mark that you didn't intend in that particular place. So, and anyway, a kneaded eraser is going to offer a lot of advantages. I just had it out here in this particular package because Prismacolor, they do great. So they're run of the mill. really cheap. And I'll leave prices for all these sort of stuff here in a second. But and you'll notice here mine's a little pink, and it's basically just from this pastel pencil here. You really want to have, with your pencil lead, the reason why you're going to have X-Acto knife, I just have this one. It's just this utility knife. If you have some other X-Acto knife, let me see if I can find one. If you have some other X-Acto knife like this will do just as well. It's not, I mean, it's no different. I just like this one because you can hide the blade, whatever, that's kind of cool, and then you can, and then it's just a bigger, bulkier, I don't know, whatever. Go big or go home. Okay, now, regarding the pencil here. Now, first thing I mentioned was that when you're drawing, you're generally going to be holding the pencil back in this position versus what we're used to when we're writing or in elementary school or whatever. So that's the first thing. The other thing is it's going to be more of a soft grip. We'll go over these details later, but wanted to mention them now because you're going to be drawing more than anything, not necessarily with the tip of the pencil, but more with the side of the pencil. So that's one reason where we're basically, with any of these pencils, we're going to shave off slowly a portion of it at a time. So I'll just kind of work around it like that. Now that's why it's really important anytime you get a pencil that you're not dropping the pencil, you're throwing it on your desk or those sort of things, or even dropping on the floor, that can break the lead inside the casing, or in this case the wood casing. So I'm going to be really delicate with our pencils. Now, generally speaking, you want about 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch thereabouts, and then I'll show you how to sharpen. Now, the other thing with charcoal, a lot of people don't like charcoal. It gets really messy. Just kind of gets everywhere, and you can already see it's getting on my finger, and it's all over the place. And that's absolutely, couldn't agree more with that argument. But one of the good things about charcoal is that even though it might find its way on the paper, your mark, anytime you make a mark on the paper, you can still manipulate it fairly loosely and get some pretty dramatic effects with it. So now that I have that sharpened, or rather have the wood pulled back on that, basically what you're going to do is then just with your paper, I'm just rotating the pencil to try to get the whole thing on all sides here. So that would be the proper way, and then if I needed to, I could then extend that out even further. Get this gigantic pencil, because the big thing with that, and we'll get into this later, is you really want to use your arm, and then the longer you can get that pencil. Same thing for that lead, is you're going to be using the side of that pencil more so than the tip of it. Okay, that's good. Oh, almost forgot. Instead of using the sandpaper, this is basically another type of tool you can use. I don't like this one as much. Personal decision. I'm not getting paid by any way to the sandpaper industry to get more money for them, but basically the surface is not very big, and you find yourself tearing away at quite a few of these after a while. I like having lots of sharpened pencils. This is kind of my set. So you can see I have quite a few in there. So in any case, I like the sandpaper versus just the small version. I like a big sandpaper. You can see you have tons of space. Obviously, you can see that I've reused this quite a bit, so just shake away the dust in a trash can and then you're on your way.